All right, good evening. Actually, I'm not, good morning, I should say. Good morning. I'm so used to doing these in the evening. Good morning. Welcome to Tape Hockey. Penguins, keep going, keep it going. But before we get to our co-host, I want to talk real quick about All Pro Laway. Laway Embroidery out on Streets Run Road. If you need shirts made, got some hats got to get made for work, for leagues, for church, for you know uh, teams, for work, whatever you need it for. Streets Run Road will take Laway on Streets Run Road will take care of you. Keith and Matt will take your orders and do whatever it's needed to make you and your schools or teams or leagues look good. So get a hold of them at Laway All Pro Embroidery and let them know that Sports Survival has sent you. Great company there. I'm going to be a little biased. My wife works there as well, so it's nice. But let's bring on our co-host, Darren Vickless. Darren's not feeling 100% right now under the weather. He looks like he got punched by maybe one of the Penguins. So how you doing, Darren?
Good. Besides fall allergies, roughing my face up a little bit with some swelling, pretty good. Kind of like the Penguins. Not perfect, but not bad either.
Yeah, a little bit better than what we expected at this point in the season. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I did not. If you'd have told me right now they would have started 2-6-1, I'd have been like, you know what, I could see that. But 6-2-1, second place in the Metropolitan, you can't be too harsh on them.
No, and I think part of that is this division. People went into the year kind of assuming Carolina is going to be really good. New Jersey will be really good if they're healthy. And then a whole lot of I'm not entirely sure after that. With the Penguins, Flyers, and Islanders probably being three teams you thought would be top 10 pick range, with the Rangers being more on the bubble. And so far, the Rangers have been pretty horrible. I mean, you saw that against the Penguins opening night, and I know they came to Pittsburgh and beat them later, but if Shesterkin's not bailing the Rangers out, they're bad. So there's space for a team like the Penguins, like the Capitals, who kind of defied odds last year to have as good of a season as they did. So that window's there for the Penguins. The Eastern Conference on the whole actually hasn't been great, especially with the Florida Panthers missing their two best forwards. I mean, you really don't have a single team outside of Carolina in my mind that you look at and go, yeah, that's a team that's probably going to be in the conference finals.
And what I like about the team is, and it's based this on last night's game. They were outplayed, but yet they find a way to score two late goals. Uh, Crosby and Malkin have just been phenomenal to start the season. I mean, Malkin with 14 points, Crosby 6 goals. They both lead the team in both categories. Um, can you see both of them keeping this pace up? I mean, Malkin is really playing like a different style. He's playing back in his younger days. Like he's not, to me, he's not looking like he's being as lazy in the zones. He's making great reads. Do you think a lot of that with Malkin has to do with being teamed up with two guys that just seem like they fit right now? Them three big guys together.
Yeah, so I think the thing with that line in particular, as far as can Sid keep it up, yes. The answer with him is always yes. I don't have any questions. I expect 30 goals, 90 points, somewhere in that range. At his current pace, I think he's on pace for 108 points. I don't think he'll quite get that because I don't think their power play is going to stay as consistent as it's been so far. But with Malkin, with the difference with him now is he has two big dudes that are actually bigger and heavier than him, which isn't something you often see. And Mantha in particular can skate. They're clearing a lot of space. So Malkin really doesn't have to do as much of the dirty work in the offensive zone. His whole game at this point is predicated on just shooting the puck a billion miles an hour and finding himself in high danger areas along the half wall where he can either pass it or shoot it. And Mantha in particular allows him to do that. Brazeau, to me, as hot of a start as it's been, I don't expect that to continue. I think at some point we see a McGroarty or Koivunen on that line. But right now, for whatever reason, those guys have found chemistry and it's clicking. And it has mostly to do with the way that they can clear some space for Malkin and something that he hasn't had in the past.
You sort of answered one of my questions because with Brazeau, he's had some, like he's a player that's had moments in the NHL where he's really shined. Like he's had his like glimpses where like wow, put up some points in little stretches in the past. You don't see that maybe he's like one of them guys that just finds his home in Pittsburgh and maybe can put up maybe I don't want to overstretch this, but maybe like 18 to 20 goals with maybe 50 to 60 points. You don't think he could keep that up?
I don't think he's ever going to have the assist totals to hit that 50, 60 point range. He reminds me a lot of Brian Boyle a little bit in that he's not
Hmm.
really a good touch passer, but I think the ceiling for him is that 18 to 20 goals, high 30s, low 40s in points. I think that would be an immensely successful year for Brazil. Um, and the thing with him, though, that I keep trying to bear in mind is you can't teach size. He clearly has some decent hands. He did have a 60 goal season in junior. Granted, he was 20 years old.
Hmm.
He was 2 years post draft year. So he's physically just dominating people in junior at that point. But I mean, he's had a 60 goal season at a level of hockey that's somewhat competitive. You can't just take that away and disregard it like it didn't happen. So I'd be surprised if he hit 20 goals, but it wouldn't be the biggest surprise ever. I mean, you're old enough to remember we saw Jonathan Chichu have a 50 goal season. Like, I mean, like we have seen ridiculous things like that before in the NHL. So I would wager no. I think at some point he ends up possibly on the third or fourth line, but right now it's clicking and you just let it ride. And that's one of the things I like about Dan Muse is if something's working, he's just kind of content to let it play itself out and adjust from there.
Yeah, and he has. I mean, people don't realize he has 21 career NHL goals. It ain't like he's not played in the past. He had an 11 goal season um with Boston, Boston and Minnesota. I guess it was a combined season, but he had 11 goals, 11 assists in 76 games. But I just have this feeling these guys just find a home. They're all of a sudden more comfortable, and I right about that line, man. Three big guys, tough to defend. Three big guys, and with one that has you know the uh, the hockey of Kenny Malkin. That could be a tough line to handle going forward. Talk about
For
last
sure.
night's game. The Penguins get as many. Being honest, the Penguins probably could have scored. Made some of the saves that I mean, they were like we're talking like one of them throw your hands up in the air and knock the puck out. He had a couple of defensemen that were right on the goal line making plays at the last second. So the Penguins, what I liked about that game was down 4-2. Um, looked like it was gonna be, hey, they scored two quick goals in the third. Look like all right, this team, but they came back, man. I think that's gonna be the thing of the Penguins this year. They're gonna be a rough team to play.
Yes, that's actually what I was going to kind of get at too. Is the way Dan Muse has them playing. I don't want to use the term fire wagon hockey to use a Mike Langism, um, but it kind of feels that way in that they're like, you know what, this team isn't capable of defending and buckling down 24/7 as we've seen some of like the more early Mike Sullivan teams who could get up two goals and then just choke the life out of you. This team's just not built that way. And good on Dan Muse, like he's a rookie head coach and he's kind of already picked up. We're better off pressing than we are sitting back and letting things come to us. And I think what you're going to see the Penguins do as we go forward a little bit is then probably start to try roll three scoring lines where you get Kindle back into the third line. I know they're giving these guys games off, which makes me believe they're going to stay beyond the 9 game sample. Where and like last night actually against Columbus in particular, that third line got caved in with Kindle not being there, which kind of makes me happy. It proves my belief that Kindle is driving that line. He's not merely a passenger. But but yeah, like Dan Muse has recognized what works and what doesn't work already. And last night, Columbus was the better team. They got the deserved second point. They deserved that win. A very rare win in Pittsburgh for them. So I'm sure it means a little bit more, especially to how young that team is. But but yeah, like they need to really just keep pressing and being a nuisance. Like just a general nuisance is the way I would describe them in playing against them. You're not going to get free nights against them. You're not going to get games like last year where Carolina comes to town and it's 5-0 before you can blink. Now, I'm not saying they're going to win those games, but maybe that game is 4-3 instead of 5-0 and you have a bit of an ugly dogfight on your hands. And we're going to get more of that this year, which is just better for the consumer to watch.
And by the way, I can't remember who we were playing. Who did we play before Columbus? I'm getting them all mixed up now.
Vancouver, right?
And they scored on the first goal, and I was like, okay, now I'm feeling comfortable. This is the Penguin team that we're accustomed to from last year. They scored on
And
their first
then
shot.
immediately, though, the Kindle line responded. Now, they didn't
Yes, they
score
did.
right away. They
They
didn't score right away, but they
no.
had like 3 or 4 shifts in a row from that line where they had Elias Pettersson spinning like a top in his own zone and Quinn Hughes looking to like bail out with like emergency, like Murphy dump situations just to get the puck out and reset because that line's forecheck was so annoying and so oppressive.
Are you impressed with? I mean, a guy like Kindle that wasn't definitely wasn't a guy, and people thought that we stretched to get him. Are you impressed with what he's done? His goal in that game was sweet. I mean, it
Or no,
was
it was Florida. Florida. It was Vancouver, Florida, and then Columbus. That's
that's
what the
right.
order of operations was. But the Kindle line, they didn't score against Vancouver, and then they did score against Florida in that beautiful give and go play
Yeah,
with
no, it's
back. And somebody, I believe this was Josh Yohe of the Athletic, pointed this out. The most impressive play he made all night is where he was actually exhausted. He wanted to change, got caught, wasn't his fault. Whoever the defenseman was kind of bobbled the puck like a grenade a little bit, so Kendall got stuck as like a pseudo defenseman, deep, calmly handles the forecheck, shifts out, gets the puck out to center ice, skates it to out of danger, casually dumps it into the corner in a way that the goalie had to play it, so he then had more time to go and get the change. Something like that is like a controlled zone exit under multiple forecheckers applying pressure you don't see from somebody that young ever, like almost ever. That's the most impressive thing to me is the scoring is going to come. His hands are ridiculous. I think he's going to be a clockwork 30 goal point per game guy, honestly, at this point. Like he could be a number one center on a very good team, I think is where we're going to end up with him. But it's the calm defensive demeanor that he has where he's making good plays without forcing plays. There's nothing overtly risky going on. People have already compared him to Braden Point a little bit, and I'm not going to
mhm.
go that far. Braden Point's a guy that has multiple 100 goal, 40 point seasons and has led a cup team in scoring. So I'm not going to say that's what Kindle's going to be yet. We're too early. But that's the comparable. An undersized guy out of the WHL who put up good scoring numbers in juniors, a little bit undersized, a little bit underappreciated, but with a very savvy defensive game. That's kind of his comparable. And that savvy defensive game means I think he's going to age well the more we go, where his offense is going to get freer. He's going to get better line mates. And then he's not giving anything up the other way. He actually leads the Penguins. I know people don't get into the expected goals, underlying numbers much, but he leads the Penguins in expected goals for and against, in that his line is controlling all the scoring chances. They're not giving much up. The only player on the team who's even close is Crosby, actually. Now, part of that is third line matchups. You're not playing top line forwards. So, like, there's going to be a learning curve there. But the kid has the juice, to be blunt. Like, there is something very special there with this player.
And this past week I wrote an article after the Penguins beat the after they beat the Panthers 5-3. And you're right, that was Thursday. That was the Thursday night game in Florida. Because the Penguins, yeah, they had the home game against Vancouver and then snuck out to Florida for a one quick 1 game road trip. But I put down in the article that the Penguins continue to show that they could be a playoff potential team. I know it's early in the year. I'm not gonna lie about that. But do you think this is gonna complicate Dubas's rebuild dilemma? Is he gonna have a dilemma? Like, I mean, you're at that point. Say you have all these draft picks that you've secured that you're trying to. I mean, he's starting to turn the roster over in a good way. I think we could talk about 6, 7, 8 prospects, which we haven't been able to do that in several years. Do you think it's going to be a hard tightrope to walk? Like, because you're not gonna. He's gonna have to give Crosby, and if we're a playoff team, he's gonna have to give Crosby Malkin the best chance. Don't you agree?
I think so. I think they're in a spot too where they're gonna sell off assets and still be in the playoff race simply because the East is so bad. It's such a bad conference right now. Like I'm laughing out loud right now, like looking at the standings and how condensed it is. Like the Red Wings got off to a hot start. They've now lost back-to-back games pretty handily. Ottawa, Buffalo, I mean, the Islanders are off to a good start, but they're getting caved in possession-wise. That's going to kind of come home to roost eventually. The Flyers have been terrible. Mishkov, in particular, actually has been very underwhelming for them. There's going to be space here in the East to where I think you could flip a Mantha at the deadline for a second-round pick. You can flip a Dumba or one of these depth defensemen. And who knows? Brian Rust, I know he scored a tying goal last night, hasn't been great. That might be a guy, though, because of cup pedigree. Maybe you flip around. Now you have more space for Koivunen and McGroarty. And I know people are going to be like, oh, blasphemy, Brian Rust is beloved. But you can't get too sentimental right now. They're at a very crucial spot in their rebuild where if you have one more good draft, whether you like this pie in the sky scenario, obviously Gavin McKenna, but if you have one or two more really good drafts where you seem to, like Horkoff and Kindle look like hits, Pickering and Koivunen and McGroarty, I think, are going to be guys that are going to be up playing this year. Brunick's a hit. You can overturn about 2/3 of this roster real quick if you have another draft like they did last year.
Don't forget about the goalie down at Wilkes-Barre, just lighting it
That's
up.
actually what I was about to get to, is everyone's freaking out like, oh, they might play themselves out of McKenna. It might not matter if Murashev is as good as the precedent seems to indicate that it is. He's putting up the kind of numbers that you saw from Vasilevsky when he was in the AHL. No, I'm not saying he's going to be Andrei Vasilevsky. That's like a top 15 goalie all time. That's a very lofty spot. And as we've seen in Pittsburgh before, goalies are weird. Matt Murray was great until he wasn't. Marc-Andre Fleury was great until he wasn't. I mean, like, it's you cannot predict that position. But Murashev has all the positive indicators that you like. I think Silovs looks like a very good 1B guy who's in his mid-20s. Like, the goaltending position went from, oh my God, what are they going to do to? They might be in a brighter spot than almost any team in the league at goaltending position, because you have Blomqvist and Larson in the minors too, who are kind of like lottery tickets. We still don't know what they are.
Yeah, I mean, Blomqvist got I mean, it didn't look the greatest last year, but that's a goalie that was put in a rough situation last year. I mean, he had
very fair some of the predicaments he was put into.
Yeah.
And I'm very critical. I kind of believe in that you're a pro. You need to play like a pro regardless of the circumstances around you. But the end of last season was just so bad at times, when, like, defensively, just how much the team largely didn't care outside of 2 or 3 guys, that I was probably too harsh on Blomqvist with my end of the year assessment on him.
If you had to pick one guy right now in the day-to-day, playing day-to-day, that you think that, you know what, this guy's a guy that's not going to be here much longer, maybe not in the lineup. Is there somebody that's not playing as well as you would hope, whether it be a defenseman or a forward?
I will say he was better last night, but Chris Letang's been rough to start the year. Real rough. And I mean, you could pick, like, Matt Dumba and Connor Clifton are kind of a terrible pairing. We saw that last night. They got caved in. But just because of, like, the minutes, like, and I don't think Letang's going to, they would never trade Letang, but I don't know how likely he is to be here beyond the end of his current deal. Like, it kind of feels like we're approaching the end, and it looks like.
So you're a guy that he leads the team in plus minus, which is crazy. But is that you're a guy that maybe that's not a good telltale sign on the.
So the problem with plus minus, not to get preachy on it, is you are rewarded more often than not for things you don't really contribute to, and you're punished more often for things you don't necessarily contribute to. Like the Connor Dewar goal against the Florida Panthers the other night, where Bobrovsky basically scored on himself. Nico Mikkola doesn't deserve a minus for that, but he gets one. You kind of see what I mean, in that in a macro sample, definitely. Plus minus can mean something, but in this early in a year, I don't think it means anything. And it doesn't really exonerate how bad he's been at times. And, like, I don't know if you've noticed, they've pretty much cut his penalty kill minutes entirely. Like, you just can't have him out there with too much space to cover anymore. He just doesn't have the skating anymore to really make up for that. And I think over the course of the year, we'll see that plus minus normalize to a more negative number in, like, a larger sample. Like, in a larger sample, plus minus means something. 9 games, 10 games in, I don't think it means much.
I can see that, and you're also true about that, because I mean, guys like who knows what Brian Dumoulin's plus minus would have been if he didn't have to get these negatives from, you know, Letang screwing up all them times. And you're right about that. I mean, you could be. I think that's why you see guys like Sid. He could be out there busting his ass on in the slot and doing what he has to do, and then the other team scores a goal, and you can see it bothers him.
You turn the puck over high in the zone while Sid's down low behind the opposite net. He's on the ice. He gets a minus. He didn't do anything wrong. He was in position doing his job.
Yep.
It's one of those stats that it's almost impossible to delineate, like, with rare circumstances. Like, you get guys like Nick Lidstrom and Patrice Bergeron, like, these overwhelming defensive forces in their careers have very demonstrative plus minus numbers, but it's really rare that you can parse much from them. I mean, Alex Ovechkin's never been great defensively, and he's a plus, I think, like 60 for his career. I mean, it just doesn't mean that much in the grand scheme of things.
No, I get what you're saying because I mean, it's a unit that's all getting a minus. So if it's one
Yeah,
one
see,
week one week link, and then everybody gets the minus. So
exactly. It takes one guy handling a puck like a grenade, and the puck's in your net, and everyone's all mad at each other.
and I do agree too. Latang, he has looked out of place. Just, I mean, he looks like he's almost like pressing. Where a guy like Carlson actually seems like he's risen up. Like I think Carlson's playing
So,
the best he's played as a Penguin.
and that's what
Um,
I'm going to try and segue into. Like in the kind of controlled chaos that Dan Muse likes, this constant press, don't sit back, don't be passive. Carlson's in his element, man. He's just going with the flow, having a blast, and he looks more animated on the ice. He looks more involved. He actually reminds me of Sid a little bit, and that he almost looks kind of like not deranged, but very fired up, maybe more than he should be for a random Tuesday night game against Vancouver or whatever it is. Like
yeah.
it's good to see that from him because that's what we saw for years in Ottawa when he was at his best. Was yeah, you're not always going to get great defensive play, but he just drives it so well in the offensive end that he's going to give you more than he gives up. And that's what we're seeing right now from him. And Witherspoon, shout out to him, for whatever reason, has clicked and been a very good defensive partner with Karlsson. He's covered for him very well, and he brings a bit of like a nasty physical edge that Karlsson really doesn't bring. It's balanced out that pairing very nicely.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually, it's been a couple years, and I can honestly say, like when I watched the game last night, I went to the Pitt football game, came home a little late, so I missed the first period. But I can honestly say I have a little bit of an excitement now watching them. Like I actually get disappointed. I understand why Kendall doesn't like. I know they're giving him days off, but I actually get like, oh man, I'm gonna see that. I love watching these kids play, man. Like honestly, I'm getting that excitement thing back. That the last couple of years have been really, really rough, man. I mean, I don't know if it's just the style of Sullivan. I think Sullivan was just stale. The team was stale. I think you're right about Carlson to a T. That I think Carlson was playing like he knew he was pissing the coach off and didn't. He wasn't happy. It wasn't a good situation
Here,
with
the
him and
thing with
Sullivan.
Karlsson and Sullivan, I think, was a bit of a personality mismatch. I think Sullivan's a Hall of Fame coach. Erik Karlsson is one of the 10 best defensemen of all time. Like, these are two guys that are going to have busts in Toronto,
Hmm.
Hall of Fame elite guys that define the era in which they coached and played, respectively. But it was a personality mismatch. Sullivan likes a very rigid, controlled, high pressure forecheck. Karlsson is more of a we're going to kind of wheel and take what we're given sort of player.
Yep.
And when you have guys that are that good, there's going to be egos. I mean, like Sullivan probably has a bit of an ego. Karlsson probably has a bit of an ego. I don't think you get to that level and as good as those two guys were at their respective jobs to not have an ego. Like it's not possible. So I think it was just a personality mismatch where it worked out best for all parties involved to move separate ways. And I know you read reports how much Sid liked Sullivan, but I'm wondering how much Sid's enjoying the shackles being off, so to speak, where it's just go out there, get after them, let the chips fall where they may. Karlsson's the biggest beneficiary of that, but I'd be real curious if we could have some like a truth serum situation with the likes of Crosby and Malkin and Raquel, who's been here long enough too. Raquel's another really creative, free-flowing player, and he looks rejuvenated too.
By the way, he left the game last time. I'm hoping it's not a big deal. He missed
Yeah,
a
that
good
was
bit
my
of the third period.
evening up sooner now, and or the Avery Hayes of the world, like those kind of guys, Tristan Bras, Tanner Howe. Like I
Mhm.
said, they're going to be able to really overhaul this roster post trade deadline, and I am excited. It's been the first time I think since 2022 when they were still kind of in their cup window where they could have won a couple of rounds, like that post 2022 where I'm like excited for this team again because it's new. There's a tangible plan in place of what they want to do.
I agree. I mean, even the goalies. I mean, Jari seems rejuvenated. I mean, the game against Florida, he made a ton of saves. Florida really put it on them in the third period, and they held up. I mean, Marchand started looking like the pest that he always is. He sort of, had a shorty and a regular strength goal, and he looked like he was bringing it. The Penguins held tight, man. That's what I'm saying. They're different this year. There's not that. We're gonna break down. Like even last night when Columbus made a 4-2, I was like, all right, and you can see it. I mean, the Penguins worked for a couple power plays there in a row and got one of them, and it was really the team's fun. They're fun to watch again. Like I'm actually I'm not gonna lie. Like last year, I'd be like, oh, the Penguins play tonight. I'll catch it. I'd catch when I could. But now this year, I'm like, all right, I'm sitting down. I'm watching this
Yep.
game.
I was going to say I am literally moving around, not moving around my work schedule, but like my school schedule and things like that to make sure I have time to at least watch a couple periods.
Yeah,
Like
that's the way it is now. That's an awesome feeling because it wasn't like that the last couple of years. I was like, oh, I got, hey, the wife would be like, let's do this. I'm like, oh, let's go. I'll put it on the radio or whatever. But
and you know me, I was a big we're watching all 82 games, health permitting kind of thing.
Oh
Or
yeah.
and last year I probably watched a lot. I probably watched like 65, but that's much lower than what was normal for me. And if they're getting to me that way, I can only imagine how they were getting to the more casual portions of the fan base.
Oh, you could see it going. I went to a couple games later in the year last year. It was just a total like it was. I'm not gonna say it was empty, but it was not the same feel that you get when you go to a Penguin game. But once again, everybody out there, get a chance, get on www.sportsbible.com. I'm proud to say we got podcasts on. We got some good beers on tap. We got some great articles. Penguins. I'm going to be doing a Riverhounds article today. The Riverhounds clinched a home playoff match, so they'll be playing at home next Saturday. They don't know the time yet, but they're playing Hartford next Saturday. So they turned their season around, got a home playoff match. I'm going to be doing some stuff on the NFL draft. Of course, is big right now, and look at our top 25. We got a little bit of everything on there. Darren, I appreciate your time, and guys, we're pretty much going to be 10 o'clock every Sunday morning. Things may change. You might do an evening one here and there. Um, Darren's the young one. Darren's the one that's got school works. I just work, and Sundays are like basically my day to basically. I have 24 hours to myself usually. So
Yeah, my
um,
environment can be chaotic at times, so occasionally duty calls. But
no, and that's fine. But hey, Darren, thank you guys so much, everybody. Once again, don't forget www.sportsbible.com. Check us out YouTube. Follow us on YouTube because there's also a Heinz Ward autographed jersey. If we ever hit that 500 plateau, which is, it's hard to get people on YouTube, man. It's easy to get people to sign up on Facebook, but
yeah, YouTube's kind of the Wild West at times.
I think 9 out of 10 people don't even know they have a YouTube account, and then they're like, "Oh, I don't know how to sign in," or stuff like that. So it's one of them things. But check it out, Darren. Thank you so much, everybody. Take care. Let's go, Pens.